When political debates become personal, it's easy to focus on the shouting. But sometimes, the most important story is what lies underneath the argument. A recent interview between British broadcaster Ian Dale and President Trump's faith advisor, Pastor Mark Burns, quickly escalated into a heated exchange over King Charles, Britain's foreign policy, and America's expectations of its closest allies. At first glance, it looks like another television confrontation. But listen carefully, and you'll hear something much bigger. A disagreement over whether allies should always support one another, even when they take different paths. Let's break down what happened, and why this debate matters far beyond one interview.
Well, again, it's already clear that, and I don't think the UK is great. Again, I think the people are great of the UK, but I think you're going into a very dangerous direction. And I think many in America believe that. But the reality of it is, UK has always been our greatest and oldest ally. And it is important that, we share so many of the same messaging. Naturally, your prime minister and even your king have done some things that has been very challenging to us Americans in regards to the direction that you're taking your country. But the reality of it is, this was a good day to continue to build upon our previous strong relationships. And yes, some of the things the king said, I believe, were unnecessary. And that he really needs to, again, stick to kissing babies and also being the head of the Christian church. I remind him.
I'm sorry. Don't be so insulting to the king. He made a very, very thoughtful speech there with some important messages, particularly around our collective security. And you resort to an insult about he should stick to kissing babies. Grow up.
Notice how quickly the discussion shifts from diplomacy to tone. Ian Dale isn't simply disagreeing with Mark Burns' politics. He's objecting to the way the king is being described. That's significant because in Britain, criticism of public figures is common, but criticism of the monarch during an official state visit carries a different cultural and symbolic weight.
The fact is that Britain has come to America's aid on many occasions in the past. President Trump didn't even seem to know that we did after 9/11 on Afghanistan. It is for sovereign nations, whether it's Britain, Germany, France, any nation, to decide whether they are going to take part in military action. Now, I happen to disagree with our government stance on this, but I fully respect our elected government's right to make that decision. And
sure.
I mean, as you well know, there have been occasions when America has done things which haven't been to the advantage of our country. But these alliances, they are formed over decades, not temporary sort of years, and they have to endure if our collective security is to endure. But that doesn't mean to say that when Donald Trump says jump, we just say how high. International relations don't work like that.
Well, you're speaking about the Trump deranged syndrome that you clearly have, and many of those in the UK have. We're not talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about the government of the United States of America. President Trump is the elected commander-in-chief. But the government of the United States of America.
Absolutely, I fully recognize that.
So you're talking about Donald Trump, and you're talking about his personality. You never met the man, but you're talking about his personality.
I haven't mentioned his personality.
Then he says how high. That's a Trump deranged syndrome mentality. We're talking about the security of our two great nations, and the reality of it is, you are part of NATO, and so when the United States, who is a member of NATO, needs or requesting help, you should in return.
An organization which President Trump consistently undermines.
At the hands of the evil regime. And thanks to President Trump, they are now in a leadership situation to where things are falling apart internally in their own nation. And that gives an opportunity for democracy and the beautiful people of Iran to rise to the situation.
It's the same regime. The regime, the personalities.
If it was the same regime, their Navy would still be existing. Their Navy doesn't exist. If it was the same regime, their Air Force would exist. Their Air Force does not exist. If it's the same regime, the same Iranians are now saying, we want the Strait of Hormuz to be opened up, but we have an internal leadership issue. That was not the same under the former Ayatollah. No, he's been eliminated. And all of the generals have been eliminated thanks to President Donald Trump. And remember, I don't understand the real question question we should be asking, why does the UK love Iranians being killed by this evil regime? Why aren't you stepping up and helping the beautiful people of Iran who wants to be free? Why are you so in hatred of Donald Trump so much that you would allow Iranians to die at the hands of an evil Islamic and not step up to the plate in the system?
For somebody who says he's a pastor, you don't have a very Christian attitude to people in debate, do you? I think we'll end it there. Thank you very much indeed.
This is where the debate becomes more interesting. The real disagreement isn't about one television interview. It's about expectations between allies. The United States and the United Kingdom have one of the closest diplomatic relationships in the world. But close allies don't always agree on military strategy, foreign policy, or international priorities. History shows that disagreement doesn't automatically weaken an alliance. In many cases, it reflects the fact that sovereign governments make decisions based on their own national interests. That's why debates like this attract so much attention. They reveal the tension between loyalty and independence, two ideas that often coexist in international politics. Whether you agreed more with Ian Dale or Mark Burns, this exchange raises a broader question that's likely to remain relevant long after this interview is forgotten. How should close allies respond when they disagree on major international issues? Should loyalty mean automatic support, or should friendship allow room for independent decisions? That's a debate worth having. If you enjoy balanced political analysis from both the UK and around the world, you're in the right place. I'm Charles Devon, and this is Signal Westminster. Thank you for watching.